Test. There we go. Back on. Sorry. The Miller Park Minute back again, finally. It's been a good little bit here. We did a episode with Mr. Go, one of the two Go brothers. We're going to get back into this game. We are going to get back into talking Brewers on a regular basis. Thank you for tuning into the episodes that we have done in the interim this year. It's just been a hectic start to the 2024 season, as we call it out in this world. And we're going to keep coming at you. This podcast is not dying. It's not going away. It has just taken a reshape, a reform. As you see, there is not as many Brewers items behind me. I still have the hat wall, but I have decided that we are taking a step back from the whole buying as many Brewers items as possible. I'm not going to don myself in Brewers every day, but I still love the crew. I've still been listening to every spring training game, and we're gonna talk more about spring training here today, and then we're also going to talk about the things that are to come, I guess is the best way to put it. I am going to be covering more baseball as a whole. I am very excited. You see Shohei behind me. I'm very excited about Shohei being a Dodger. I'm very excited in general about the upcoming 2024 season. I've been trying to listen to a game or two a day, getting in the baseball podcasts. I'm getting ready, preparing to do a lot of previewing of the upcoming season. One of the things when I started this podcast a year ago and I did my streak of 275, 80 episodes straight is I didn't take a look at the formatting and the show that I was creating. I just kind of created every day without a script, I guess is the best way to put it. And not that I'm going to script what I say and think about what I say more. That's not going to happen because part of my being as a podcaster and someone behind this microphone is just shooting from the hip. I love to shoot from the hip, and that's some of the content that I create is always going to be shooting from the hip and doing those things. If you are in the podcast watching, oh, hey there, I was going to say, it's Richard here today. Richard, welcome back, my friend. It's good to hear from you. Good to see that people are still joining. We got a lot of views on our last couple episodes, which I really appreciate. We've had some good comments, some good discussion. I kind of exploded when I did the Corbin Burns episode, and after my Corbin Burns reaction, I exploded, and I took a step back. I took a breather. I realized that one of the things about my fandom is I was over the top in on it, and I love it. I absolutely love it. But I think we take things for granted, and there's many more things to be open for. You can see a Dodgers hat above my shoulder there. So I have indulged in some Dodgers. I've indulged in some other forms of baseball merch. I've got the Babe Ruth. Actually, this is a couple months old, but regardless, I'm trying to expand my horizons to get better, to be behind this microphone, to talk not just about Brewers baseball, but about baseball as a whole. Because I think that's the thing that people are primarily interested in. There's a lot going on with baseball in general, and I want to cover a lot more of it and have a lot more time for it in these shows. As far as the crew goes, there's a lot of good things happening with the crew right now. We're seeing some good stuff coming out of spring. I think the big things for me are watching where these young guys are going to fall out and where they're playing. So we're going to start with that. We're going to talk about the young guys this spring. Yeah, it's going to be a good season. I will at some point probably walk back or change some of my predictions. My predictions episode is going to have to be reformatted because that was all in the status with Corbin Burns still on the roster. Obviously, that changed. We added Rhys Hoskins, great ad. And I think I said this in the Corbin Burns video, but Rhys Hoskins and then trading Corbin Burns didn't make sense to me. It still doesn't make sense to me. but we'll roll on with what we have, and that's just what we have to do as Brewers fans in general, is just roll on with what we have. So that being said, um, this roster has a very interesting construction. Um, it's very heavy in the young talent, especially in the outfield. Now with the additions of Ortiz and Reese Hoskins, Jake Bowers, there's a lot more depth, more talent that we could possibly use. This roster stands to be shaped here in the next few weeks. We're starting to see it already with Murphy. Um, Sal got some time in the infield. Is still getting time in the infield. He's come to play. I think a lot of guys are coming to play, and that's what I like here about spring training. The thing you can't do with these spring training games and with this spring training setup is judge how a person's going to be, a player's going to be, because we see it all the time. People look good in spring and then they just don't perform. I mean, that's the nature of the game. So we're gonna throw some strikes, get some likes this season, talk about what could possibly happen. Gary Sanchez was another ad late here that I want to talk about at some point. And we're gonna do breakdown episodes more in depth, but I want to talk about what we've seen so far. Some of these guys in the spring training realm. So that being said, I'm just gonna kind of go around a little bit. Churio's been knocking the cover off the ball. I think we all know that's gonna happen. I still don't know that I want to see him on the opening day roster. That's just my take. That's my opinion. Maybe it's a bad take. But I think he will be good once he gets time to play. I think he makes the appropriate adjustments. He's been doing really solid this spring. As far as Sal, Mitchell, and Weimer go, they've all been playing. Again, numbers don't mean anything to me at this juncture. I think it's just getting the guys in shape and getting them ready to play for the 2024 season. But I do think it's interesting that Sal's getting some time in the infield. Joey Ortiz is another interesting infield piece. Comes to us in the Corbin Burns deal. Last year with Baltimore, he was a 250 hitter with a 357 on base percentage, slugging of 500, and an OPS of 857. And that was in 6 games. So, I mean, that's not a whole lot to, he's still very, very young. But we'll see where he shapes out. That's one piece that I like. Obviously, Reese Hoskins trying to rebuild himself at this juncture. Reese that grand slam the other day was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And it's fun. It's fun to see these things. It's fun to see the grand slams, the home runs. This just gets you the itch. I think when the winter gets long, and fortunately for those of us who are located in the state of Wisconsin, winter has not been as long as it has been in the past. It really has not. Right now we don't have any snow on the ground, and that's great. But once these games start airing on the radio and on television, I have not yet subscribed to Bally. I'm going to go in more depth. I haven't actually watched a physical game except for one that was on TV randomly before for a few seconds. But I'm going to go into more depth as to how you can watch the Brewers in 2024. Usually that episode comes out actually like 2 months ahead. But with everything that happened with Amazon, we're going to have to cover that down the road. Right now, it just doesn't make sense to cover it because there's still unknown factors. It primarily looks like Bally is going to be the way to watch. I don't think you're going to be able to see it on Amazon quite yet, because everything that Amazon showed me when I was watching before basically led me to the MLB.TV app. So I don't know what we'll see. It could be different for spring versus in-season games. We'll see that. And bit late. Going to be an interesting season. I still wonder how they will make it work with a logjam at the outfield. I can't help but think one of the young outfielders will be traded. I do too. I think it's going to be what they do with Churio is going to make the decision, because you still have Yelich, and then you've got 4 other outfielders on top of Yelich. And unless Sal can make that transition to third base, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? And Sal actually spent time with Dustin Pedroia, who has a connection to our good friend Mr. Murphy. So there's a lot of storylines there, and I don't want to see Weimer traded, Richard. I don't. Get that dirty language out of your mouth. I love Weimer. I love the locks. I love his swing. I love everything about the dude. But that's the thing. We all fall in love with players, and the thing that we have to realize, and the thing that I realized when I went off on Corbin Burns, is that Corbin, albeit is going to be a good major league player somewhere else, we can still watch him and we can still be fans. That's the great part about this game, is you can watch the players play other places and still be fans. But yeah, I don't want to trade Weimer. I think Mitchell's got more upside, to be honest, and I'd rather see Mitchell in center field than anything. But there's that Jackson Churio being pushed to the majors that we have to deal with. That's what it comes down to. And it's not their fault. They're just trying. I'm not going to blame them for that. They're just trying here. But then we've got a logjam of other players. Like, what do you do with an Andrew Monasterio? Came in and played third pretty regularly, was very good in the 2024 season for being a guy that wasn't even on anybody's radar. Really at all. I mean, he just wasn't. And I don't know. What do you do with a Monasterio? What do you do with an Owen Miller? And this all works itself out during the season. I understand that, but you send some guys down, you use the options. Yeah, I agree with you. Joey too is good as it stands, but he is the odd man out because of just the talent level of the other two, now 3 that he has to contend with. In my perfect scenario, I think you give Mitchell the opening day center field nod. Yelich is going to be left field technically, possibly DH. Depends on what they do there with Gary Sanchez, who I said I'd get back to. Because you're not going to put Gary Sanchez behind the plate when you've got William Contreras, who's honestly probably going to be one of the top catchers in the league going forward. So that being said, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you do there, because we're just jammed up at every position. And then Haas is fighting his way onto the roster too. The broadcast, if you listen to the broadcast, they're actually saying they could see us using 3 catchers on the roster, which is just kind of crazy in and of itself. Turang, I think, is going to, he's going to be that second base spot. Obviously, Willie at short, and then some combination of this various group of other infielders that we have. Reese is first base. That's a given. We haven't had a true first baseman. I think Reese gives us that option. And he's trying to fight for his career and for his talent all the way around. Looks like the A's did end up beating the Brew Crew today, 4-2. So, I don't watch these games for score. I don't keep track of the wins. I don't even know how many of these spring training games we've won. And I don't think that really matters at the end of the day. Like I said, a lot of this stuff is just kind of it's like practice, like they're just having practices that they televise and try and get people into it and excited. I did see Gary Sanchez picked up his first hit today. Little single as a Brewer. He had an injury that kind of held him out, and that was the big hiccup in the contract. A lot of people were like, "Well, it's attitude, blah blah blah." No, it's just Gary. Gary is a kind of damaged player in a way. He's not perfect, and that just kind of is what happens. So, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Athletics beat us, but we beat the Mariners. I forgot there was 2 games on today. Or no, we lost to the Mariners too. Oh yeah, Julio had a big home run in that one. Jesus. This one kid that I am excited about is this Wes Clark kid. Um, I believe he came out of one of the trades. I don't know specifically which one, but he came out of one of the trades. Um, and he's been hitting the cover off the ball, so that's been exciting to watch. As it stands right now, we are 7-8 in Cactus League play. We are behind the Cubs, Rangers, Colorado, Cincinnati, Los Angeles Angels, Kansas City, and of course the Dodgers. Dodgers are 11-4 in Cactus League play. Their rosters are stupid though. It's like an all-star game when you watch the Dodgers play. So it's insanity. The other thing I really wanted to talk about was this pitching setup that we've got right now. There's no defined roles on this roster. There is nobody that is, we don't have a 1-2-3 setup. I think you could easily say 1-2-3 is probably Freddie, combination of Wade and maybe, I don't know, where you throw Ray in the mix. We're going to see DL Hall. I know MLB.com was saying DL Hall was our number 3 starter. Or no, they were saying Junis. I'm sorry, they were saying Junis was a number 3 starter. I don't necessarily think that that's the case yet. I still think that there's a opportunity for a late spring ad. I don't know that that's going to be the deal for sure, but I would like to see it. I saw a rumor. I think it popped up on Twitter the other day that there was some discussion, either Twitter or Instagram. There was some discussion of adding another arm. I think our bullpen is pretty set. You're going to have Devin Williams in there. You're going to have Abner Uribe. Joe Ross is another considerable for the rotation. Aaron Ashby is another to consider for the rotation. But it's going to be the same guys in the bullpen. You're going to see a combination of Hobie Milner, Payamps, Perguo, Uribe, and of course Devin Williams, Bryce Wilson. Those guys are pretty set. So, and I'm going to break these into categories. I'm going to do more in-depth conversation about these things later in the week. I think this week is primarily going to be talking about the roster in the episodes that I put out. And then, of course, where to watch the Brewers. I got to do a lot more research on that. Right now, just from what I've seen, I haven't seen that Amazon is fully in play yet. I think I said that before. But yeah, we're going to talk more about those. We'll do like a bullpen day. We'll do a starting rotation. I'm actually going to be later this week. I'm going to be on the. Don't forget to like. I am going to be on the Wisco Fanatics. I think I have an appearance with Barrel Banter coming up. Those guys are great. Love talking with them every time I get. I think you guys know that. And then I got some special guests in the works. Just depends on the day and when those interviews fall and when those will actually air on the channel. We're going to try to get back to the everyday format with pre-recorded content as we had been in the past. But there's going to be a more grand scheme to things this season. The 2024 season, we're going to go wide instead of narrow. So, but yeah, so look forward to those episodes. Where to watch in 2024. We're going to do bullpen breakdown, starting rotation, infielders, bench players, and take a re-look at the things that I already said about the 2024 season, reshuffle the deck. I think there's a lot of good baseball stuff coming from Milwaukee Brewers, and I don't think that I have to walk back my predictions very much. I don't think this roster has changed enough to make me walk back anything that I've said. And like I said, there's possibly still a little inkling that there could be an ad at this point. So guys, remember to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I will be back. Probably the first episode will probably drop either Monday or Tuesday, and then we'll roll into the rest of the week. Just depends on how fast this content comes. I appreciate everybody who's logged on today. Pablo, Richard, some of my favorite subscribers. Drop a comment down below, guys. Let me know if you're liking the content, if there's anything you want to see more of. If you want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/MillerParkMinute. You can use our SeatGeek code, which is MillerParkMinute at SeatGeek. Get $20 your first order with SeatGeek. You got to be a first order. You can listen to this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Castbox, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Apple Podcasts, wherever. We record this nightly, daily. We're going to do lives like this, so it's good to have you guys in here. If you want to join live and have conversation, let me know. Hit me in the DMs. Go over to X, and you can find me at Miller Park Minute. All right, you guys have a great rest of your day. As always, go Brew Crew. We will chat at you tomorrow, guys. Thank you. Peace.